So next up, we will hear from Craig Bonds and Chuck Sykes about renewed commitment to Angler R3 recommendations. Craig Bonds is the Vice Chair for the R3 Task Force. He is RBFF's Board Chairman and the Chief Operating Officer at Texas Parks and Wildlife. Thanks.
All right, good morning, everyone, and got a little challenge for the RBFF staff. So for mine and Chuck's segment, once you get through all of the post-production efforts, I want our section to be as visually appealing and engaging as Jenny's. So you got your work cut out for you. But anyway, no, it's a pleasure to get up here to talk to each of you about, our commitment as state agencies and those that are kind of operating in our orbit to help state agencies progress along the R3 implementation front, and kind of what are the mechanisms and pathways available to us. Also, looking ahead over at the horizon and over the horizon about how we can continue to refresh those recommendations, update those recommendations, and continue to push forward and elevating our game. But if you'll go back in time a little bit with me to March of 2018, there was a Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies President's Task Force that was charged with developing some recommendations for R3 implementation for angling that states could implement. And they developed a report that was approved by state directors and made available for states to implement. And that report contained 5 main recommendations. And this is a little bit of review for y'all, but recommendation number 1 was develop an R3 plan. And then recommendation number 2 was allocate the resources to implement that plan. And number 3, as part of that, is to hire an R3 coordinator or manager to really quarterback those efforts. Recommendation 4 is to develop a customer relationship management system to, offer some more automated functionality in the way that we engage with our customers. And then finally was to develop and implement an R3 clearinghouse so that we can share lessons learned within our community of practitioners. The good news is that we've made tremendous progress in implementing those 5 recommendations, especially 4 out of those 5. So for any number geeks out there like myself, I'll give you a few statistics here. There are 32 states that have a full-time R3 coordinator or angler and hunter R3 coordinator on staff. 2 more are in the hiring process right now. There are 24 states with an Angler R3 plan and 14 others that are in the development phase of that. And interestingly, there are several states that are kind of on the vanguard on that journey continuum and are looking ahead to revising and going for a version 2 of their R3 plan. And I know that several other states are moving in that direction, including Texas. We're about a year away from heading into version 2 and looking forward to learning lessons learned of best practices to incorporate into that version 2 of the plan. There are 40 states, 80% of the states in the country have full-time marketing manager, directors, or a marketing team. That's tremendous. That's a lot of progress over the past 5 to 10 years. And a national R3 clearinghouse was developed with and led by the Council to Advance Hunting and Shooting Sports. So that's available for us at our fingertips 24/7 to be able to share and read about and watch lessons learned on the R3 front. So how do we continue to advance? How do we guard against complacency? How do we make available new recommendations, especially for those states that are a little bit further ahead on that journey continuum? So last fall, at AFWA's annual meeting, a new President's Task Force was established to develop the next version of Angler R3 recommendations. And Ty Gray, the director in Arizona, is the chair of AFWA's Angler and Boater R3 committee, and he is leading this task force. I'm currently serving as vice chair, and Director Chuck Sykes and a number of other state directors and staff are serving on this task force. And it's working on a document like I've explained before about, okay, what are the next steps? How do we elevate our game and look ahead to, the next 5 years, so to speak? And thank you to RBFF and partners like DJ Case and Associates that have been with us on every step of this journey to help facilitate the development of these plans, to facilitate and help us learn how to track and evaluate and look ahead to the next frontier of R3 implementation across states. And they're going to continue to be there with us every step of the way as we identify and develop needed R3 resources to make these become a reality. And we'll continue to evolve those recommendations through time. So again, we guard against complacency and we can continue making progress on that front. And to talk a little bit more about those efforts of updating Angler R3 recommendations, I'd like to turn it over to Chuck Sykes, Director of Alabama's Wildlife Freshwater Fisheries Division and President of the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies.
Thanks, Craig and Stephanie. I brought my iPad with all of your talking points, so maybe I won't miss anything. I'm not used to talking from a script. I usually just wing it, but Stephanie did a lot of work to make sure I hit the point, so I'm going to try my best. The Angler R3 recommendations have been instrumental in what we all do as agencies driving our R3 efforts. And the new task force work is just re-energizing that and really putting a fine point on the development of a CRM system. We all know that we need it. We have been working long and hard to get it. Some state agencies are a lot further along than others. I'm one of the ones that's at the bottom of the barrel. It's nothing of our doing. Billy and Justin and I have been working for years to try to get it done, but as many of y'all know, the state process can be unbelievably slow and difficult to maneuver, so we are working on that. We also are proud to be leveraging the work on the CRM programs with Wildlife Management Institute right now to provide guidance to some of the state agencies on the development of the CRM. And as Craig mentioned, RBFF is committed to identifying and developing R3 resources and partnerships that can further support AFWA and what the work they're doing with the task force, and also with the state agencies and helping them with their second version of their R3 plans. R3 progress both in angler and hunter and shooter trapper participation has been a priority for me and my agency for years. Things are changing, we all know that. It's not just the typical hunter and fisherman who are paying the way now through excise taxes. It's a lot of other constituents that are playing a major role in our conservation funding, and we need to adapt and change to meet those needs, to give those people the support that they need. It's critical to find ways to further CRM development. We need to be able to track. We need to be able to stay engaged with these people to help slow the churn and keep people involved and engaged with what we're doing, to help state agencies remain relevant in the changing times that we have. So we look forward to working with you as we move forward, and we hope that y'all recommit to the Angler R3 with the new task force, with the new recommendations that will be coming out, because we definitely need to increase participation in angler, boater, hunter, shooter, trapping. We need to bring everybody to the table. I'll steal a quote from Billy Pope when he was talking to me and a lot of our constituents and our board. He said, you know, for years we've been walking backwards preaching to the choir. Now we've got to turn around and preach to everyone else. We've done a poor job over the years of inviting everybody in. Now it's time that we turn around and start speaking to everybody. Thank you.
Do we have time for one or two questions for Chuck or Craig? We've got a question down here.
I'm loud, that's fine. I really liked what you said about needing to turn around and speak to everyone else, and I'm just wondering, how do you envision actualizing that? Like, what does that mean to you?
I'll just speak specifically for what we've been doing in Alabama. Our traditional hunters and anglers, we already have them. They're growing on their own. We are looking at different venues to share our message, and just one example was a minor league baseball team. We developed a working relationship with them where our officers, our biologists, our first catch centers, our trailers are in the parking lot before a ball game. These are people that a lot of times would not have any idea who we are and what we do, and just a positive interaction with them walking into the stadium pays dividends. We have, and a lot of people don't like this, but I've been beating this drum for a while, we're going after college age and young adults. Our youth programs, what we have found is the kids that are coming to our youth programs, they're going to buy licenses anyway. So what we do for them is good. It's just additive, but it's not bringing new people in. So we are focusing on a lot of the non-traditional areas, working with Auburn University, University of Alabama, working with the minor league baseball team. We're doing a lot of work right now with our HB, historical black college and universities. We've got a lot of outreach programs there where we're going to them and not expecting them to come to us.
Yeah, great question. For Texas, and I'm sure this is probably true for a lot of states, is, you know, ingrained and inherent in a lot of these R3 recommendations is the intentionality to be more inclusive in how we engage folks. And so Texas Parks and Wildlife, we've developed an urban outreach advisory committee. And part of that is to develop relationships with those in that NGO community out there that traditionally hasn't had a voice with us. And so having that intentionality to, you know, outreach to those folks and engage is really important, and it's already bringing dividends. And I think just intentionality in everything we do, the representation that we show in our web and magazine imagery, we're being intentional about that. We have an internal employee engagement and inclusion committee that we've developed goals at an agency level, and then each division within our agency has developed their own goals that nest within that overarching umbrella. And we report on those even to our commission once a year. And even the state agency that reviews all state agencies in Texas, they've encouraged us to maintain that focal effort. So I think you know, we're not probably doing as much as we should or can, but we're giving it an honest effort. We're learning from what we're doing and learning from other states as well. I think just as we do with R3, there needs to be a clearinghouse of lessons learned and how we can better engage folks that are traditionally underrepresented in the sport.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you both very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, one more question. Sorry, that was all me.
So
I got ahead of myself.
that's all right. As much as a comment, thank you both for your leadership on this and bringing this to the forefront. This is for the folks in the room. If you're not familiar with the report, when that report is finalized, it will be voted on by all 50 state fish and wildlife directors. So your director is going to vote on this, and if you're deficient in any of those areas, we'll help you. It's what Stephanie and the whole team are doing at these meetings, is holding it up in front of the directors saying, you committed to this. Here's what we need to do as an agency, and we'll help you get there. It's not a heavy read. It's less than 20 pages, but it's dynamite recommendations in there. But to me, the key to the whole thing is your leadership said this is important. So you can hold it up to them saying, why aren't we doing this? And if they don't, call us and we'll be the pit bulls for you to get your director to put more money into those resources. And Chuck said it right, government is slow to change, but if you look at where we were 10 years ago to where we were 5 years ago to where we are today, we are making great progress. So, you know, this is, in my mind, this is RBFF's roadmap on what we're going to do with state agencies. This should be your roadmap too. So thank you both for leading this effort.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all of that information. And Craig mentioned the R3 Clearinghouse. If anyone's not familiar with that through the Council to Advance the Hunting and Shooting Sports, I highly recommend checking it out. It has tons of photos and case studies and research reports that you can utilize all the information in there.